Today, we're diving into an essential topic for anyone buying or selling a home: understanding closing costs. You've likely heard the term, but what exactly are these costs? Are they negotiable? And how much should you expect to pay when all's said and done? Today, we're here to break it all down for you. By the end of this video, you'll know what closing costs entail, how they're calculated, and even a few strategies for negotiating to save a bit on that final price tag. So let's jump right in and turn these mysterious extra fees into something crystal clear. First, let's talk about what closing costs actually are. When you're at the final stage of buying or selling a home, you'll hear the term closing costs tossed around. Essentially, these are the fees and expenses outside of the property's purchase price that both buyers and sellers pay to complete the real estate transaction. They're what it takes to finalise the sale and transfer ownership of the home. These fees include everything from appraisal costs to vendor fees, title insurance, taxes, and more. If you've ever felt unsure about what these cover, you're not alone. Closing costs can be quite varied and sometimes seem complicated, but stick with us and we'll simplify everything. Now let's break down the average amount you can expect from closing costs. Generally, closing costs range from about 2% to 5% of the home's purchase price. That means if you're buying a home valued at $300,000, closing costs could be anywhere between $6,000 and $50,000. The exact amount will vary depending on factors like location, lender, and specifics of the property itself. In some cases, you might even see a slightly higher range if you're dealing with additional services like specialised inspections, or if you're purchasing in an area with higher real estate taxes. This percentage might sound high, but remember, it covers a lot of crucial components to ensure your investment is secure and the process runs smoothly. Now you might be wondering, who exactly pays these closing costs? Good question. In most transactions, both the buyer and the seller cover a portion of the closing costs. Buyers typically pay for expenses related to the mortgage and home inspections, while sellers often cover title transfer fees, agent commissions, and some taxes. However, there are situations where these costs are significant, or the seller might agree to cover part of the buyer's fees as a negotiation tool. This flexibility can be beneficial, especially if one party is trying to make the offer more attractive. Let's get into specifics now. What types of fees make up closing costs? To give you an idea, let's go over some common ones. First, there are loan-related fees, including application fees, loan origination fees, and points that the lender charges for processing and approving the loan. Then, we have title-related costs like title search and title insurance, which verify that the property is free of any legal claims or disputes. We also have government fees such as transfer taxes and recording fees, which are usually required by your city or state. And finally, there are the smaller but equally important costs like appraisal fees, inspection fees, and homeowners insurance. It's a lot to consider, but each of these has its role in making sure your purchase is sound. Now, what about negotiating these costs? It's possible. One common approach is for the buyer to ask the seller to cover some or even all of the closing costs. This is more common in a buyer's market, where sellers may be more willing to make concessions to close a deal. Another option is to negotiate lender fees. Some lenders are willing to reduce or waive certain fees to attract borrowers, so it's always worth asking. Additionally, shopping around and comparing loan estimates from different lenders can also help you find one with lower fees. Closing costs might seem set in stone, but with a little effort, you might be able to save a significant amount. Another tip is to ask your lender if you qualify for a no closing cost mortgage. These loans typically wrap the closing fees into the mortgage itself, either by adjusting the loan amount or increasing the interest rate slightly. While this means you won't pay those costs up front, keep in mind you'll end up paying more over time due to interest. This option can be helpful if you're trying to keep the costs low, though it's wise to weigh the long-term financial impact before deciding. To help you plan, let's also go over some tools you can use to estimate your closing costs. Many real estate websites, as well as mortgage lenders, provide a free online calculator. By entering some basic details like the home price and loan type, you can get a general idea of what your exact, but they can help you plan your budget and avoid any surprises. Another helpful option is to ask for a loan estimate from your lender early on in the process. This document breaks down the expected closing costs in detail, so you'll know what to expect well before the closing date. Before we wrap up, here's one final pro tip. Review your closing disclosure closely. This document is provided by your lender at least 3 days before closing that gives a final, detailed summary of all the costs involved in your loan. Double check it for any discrepancies and make sure it matches up with what you discussed with your lender. Mistakes can happen, and addressing them before signing could save you money. So to sum up, closing costs are a necessary part of the home buying and selling process. While they may seem intimidating at first, knowing what to expect and understanding the various fees involved make them much easier to manage. Remember, there's always room for negotiation. Using online resources and clear communication with your lender can go a long way in helping you get prepared. Closing on a home is an exciting milestone. With a clear plan, those closing costs are just another step on your journey. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop any questions or comments below. What topics would you like us to explore next on Journey Realty Group? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.